Hey everyone, so I wanted to talk to you about the new Hero 4 Black Edition. This is just GoPro's latest 2014 release. I think they're pretty good cameras. They've been historically known for having a lot of problems out of the box, especially with the version 3 that I have here. Um, I kind of held off from doing the review for a little bit because I wanted to use it for a while and see what my impression was. I'm a camera geek. I didn't need this. The Hero 3 was doing pretty good after some of the firmware issues were fixed. Um, but I got it anyways. So there's a lot of things to like about this, and there's a few gripes. I'm not going to call them cons or that big of negatives. I still think this is a great camera to get, especially if you don't have a Hero 3. I'll talk more about that point a little bit later. But first off, I would say that when I bought it, some reason I was expecting it to be slightly smaller than the 3, but it's exactly the same dimensions. I mean, perfectly. So the weight feels slightly more for the Hero 4 than the 3, but the dimensions are exactly the same. They did do some aesthetic ergonomic differences, I guess, that are very good. You're probably not going to pick these up on the new specs from their website, but here's what I like. If you compare the Hero 3 to the Hero 4, the front, the LCD screen, it's more clear and sharp. You can tell the text is more crisp. I don't have it on right now, but so it's a better LCD on the 4 than the 3. But I also will say that it makes it harder to read. The text on the 4 is now a little bit smaller. Um, let's see here, the buttons on the 4 are now larger than on the 3. So not all the buttons, but so it's possibly hard to see in the black here, but the wireless button is now bigger than what it was on the 3, which is helpful because you can kind of tell you're actually pushing it, and especially when you have the case on, the button is more likely to make contact when you have the case. So that was a nice feature. I mean, the button just, it feels like a button now. The other big ergonomic thing is that the battery in the 4, the casing is easier to get access to, as I struggle with it on the video here. Basically, it's a sliding compartment down below that you can just pull your battery out like this. And that leads to another point that I didn't really like, but they switched the battery size on the 4, which I wasn't too happy about because I just bought some third-party rotating charging units, and they made them obsolete with the smaller battery. So at least the access to the battery is better. And if you have a case on the GoPro, it's still hard to get to, but versus the GoPro 3, which you had this back shell that you basically had to have a little knife, or you to pry it, or you push like this and kind of shake, and hopefully it pops out. There, it worked. But it was hard to get access to, especially if you're out in the field somewhere at the beach and you got a bunch of sand around. Then you had to make sure you align these correctly. So the setup to the battery is more traditional method to sliding and thing on the bottom versus the compartment on the back. So that those parts are nice, even though they may not be a highlighted feature on the website. Okay, so out of the box, I was nervous about the firmware. They had so many problems with the 3 on launch. So when I got it, it started up fine. I didn't have the Wi-Fi issue that I had with the 3, meaning the Wi-Fi would stay on forever. It wouldn't shut off and deplete your battery. I didn't have the freezing that I had with the 3, so I had nowhere near the problems as the 3. What I had out of the box was that if you connect the camera to your GoPro, sorry, if you connect the camera to your phone, the application connects fine and all those things, but it dropped the Wi-Fi a lot. So that was a pain. And I'll add quickly that because the text size seems smaller on the 4, I found myself using the GoPro application more to make changes. They changed the menu structure a little bit as well. So anyways, I was using the phone more, and if the Wi-Fi was dropping, it made it not ideal. But I will say that at least a week or 2 after they launched the camera, they had some firmware that was easily installed. You can do the firmware install over your phone even, and that's fixed. I don't have any more Wi-Fi dropping issues. I mean, it needs to be within reason, right? You can't be too far away from the phone. But it hasn't dropped on me at all for common usage. That's actually great. I'm pretty impressed. So that's helpful. They already fixed it. The other thing I was having is with the black and the GoPro 4, the feature that's one of the main differences with this camera is that you can record 4K videos at 30 frames a second, which that was working pretty good, but I'll say that it was doing this. You can do that, but it had short recording time. It was about 6 to 8 minutes, about 8 minutes, and it would just shut off. And I think that has to do with the file size. It hits a certain file size and it stops. If you're on 1080p, for example, what it typically does is it records to that 8-minute point and it just switches the file and keeps recording uninterrupted. The 4K would record and then just stop recording, and then the camera would shut off. And that would be maddening because you still have room on your battery, you still have room on your memory card, and it would just shut off and you got to reboot the camera and get it going again. So, I mean, most of my viewers may be just interested in picture quality. I'll say that the picture quality, when I turned it on and shot a few videos of some family members, it was distinctive to me that the out of the box, normal settings. I think I put it on 120 frames per second, 1080p, but the images were very crisp. They were sharp, and it was a notable difference. So I'll say that. Take it for however you want to interpret that, but image quality was good. I thought the images were sharp. You can do sharpness in a lot of the post-processing, but out of the box, I thought the image quality settings were great. Want to do some more testing. I think the saturation is always good. You can do more with the Pro Tune settings. You have more manual control over what you want to do with the video and how it looks in camera in your phone settings. I want to do some more outdoor stuff, but so far the image quality is extremely good. Is it leaps and bounds ahead of the GoPro Hero 3? I'll say it's better. It is better. You got to evaluate that yourself with some online images, perhaps, but and make the decision if it's really worth the upgrade for you. But image quality to me was better. And I'll say some of the other things that were not ideal about the camera was, number one, the price point. They cracked up the price further on this, and you get even less stuff. It didn't come with a you know, an auto mount or anything like that. It's just it just came with the camera, and some of the plastic mount pieces certainly came with the case, but no suction cup or anything like that. And so it's priced higher, and it seems like you get a little less, but this is the premium one. They do have other options to buy. Some of them have the built-in LCD now. I think it's the silver edition does. To me, I just wanted the most capable features, high-end photography. That's my interest. I play with these a lot in the car. I would say, so after the price, then I'm surprised that, and this is not a negative necessarily, it's not caused any bugs, it's not caused any problems with the camera, but when you run the camera for a while, it is notably hot. And when I say a while, greater than 10 minutes, it is really hot. So I'm curious to know what's going to happen. You taking this into the water and snorkeling, and you have it underwater for a while, and you have it in the case. Is it going to fog up a lot? What's going to happen in that scenario? So it is notably hot. The other one was too, but this is much more hot and sooner. The other thing is that the battery it's smaller in size, and it's also smaller in it's very short recording. You're barely going to get an hour, and you might not even get an hour based on if you have the Wi-Fi on, and like I said earlier, you're more than likely to use the Wi-Fi with your phone now. And if you're doing a high frames per second, 120, then it's going to be a shorter recording. The most usage will be the 4K at 30 frames per second. So I'm planning to have to buy another battery and kind of rotate them on trips. So that's not ideal, but it is what it is. You can get a battery pack extension to it, but then it's heavier and more bulky to carry. So this is just a further view of the cameras, comparing the 4 to the 3. They're really the same size. I haven't weighted the perception. Again, the 4 seems a bit more dense, more heavy. In this video, I spoke a little bit about this overheating issue I'm having. I don't know if I called it overheating, but the camera had been shutting off. It's not a firmware issue. It's basically something going on with this camera. I'm not using a battery pack when I'm recording. It's just straight out of the box with the plastic case on or without. It gets to a certain point, it gets too hot and shuts down. So I'm having to send this camera back to GoPro, and they're going to replace it, but they have been responsive in their support so far. Overall, very good camera. The company is acting in a proper manner for a company like this that has an expensive product. So it's unfortunate that it's happening like that out of the box, but overall I still recommend these cameras.